okay? But the court is working on it.
Yep, and here we go again.
It's not going to happen as fast as it should, okay? So you're going to have to go with your dad for a little bit.
I love you, Dad.
I love you too, Dad. I love you too. You know that.
Пойдем потом выйдем на улицу. Пойдем потом на улицу.
Just so we clear, here's my hands, guys. So that way nobody claims I'm doing a damn thing.
Пойдем.
Get custody of me.
So this video has been going viral, and a lot of comments are saying that dad's probably abusing the kid, and that's not always the case. Sometimes they just prefer mom's house. What if stepdad actually sits down and plays video games with him, and dad doesn't like video games? Dad's just like, hey, let's go read a book. And every time he goes to dad's house, there's no video games there. Dad's just trying to get him to read books and do push-ups. He's not going to like it. He's going to cry. So I posted this video on my social media accounts, YouTube Shorts, Instagram, TikTok, and I've been getting various comments about this video. I gave my opinion on what I saw since everybody was giving a negative opinion on dad. A lot of people in the comment section where I found the video originally on Instagram were saying that dad is an abuser because the kid's crying. So I said, hey, maybe he's not an abuser. Maybe the child just prefers to be with mom because his stepdad bonds with him more. And people were offended by my statement. I literally had people saying stuff like, bro, I know you didn't just see a kid crying and screaming like that and jump to conclusions. My whole video was highlighting the fact that people were jumping to conclusions and saying that the dad was an abuser. But then when I say, maybe he's not an abuser, it's something, maybe not so sinister. Maybe he just bonds with his stepdad better than his dad. All of a sudden, I'm the bad guy. And I literally had somebody saying that we should figure it out. I'm like, you're not going to figure out a video that's posted online. Unless it's posted by the source, there's nothing to figure out. Also, if it's posted by the stepdad, which it looks like it's from stepdad and mom, it's going to be biased towards them. They're going to say, hey, the dad, he just doesn't like the dad. And so what is there to figure out when videos are posted online and they're going viral? There's nothing to figure out. You already have people drawing conclusions saying that this man is an abuser because his son is screaming that he doesn't want to go with him. But when I say something like, oh, again, that it's probably not abuse, it could just be, a preference thing. All of a sudden, I'm the bad guy and I'm drawing conclusions. I'm like, do people actually pay attention? And I know when it comes to social media, a lot of y'all, especially women, y'all only react off emotion. So you saw a video of a child crying, and because it's crying in favor of the mom, you're automatically like, oh, well, the dad must be doing something wrong because he cried and screamed like that, which is crazy because when I started my custody exchanges, my daughter used to cry every time she had to go to her mom's house. She would hide from her mom. She would cry right in front of her mom. She probably wouldn't scream like this little boy, but what y'all got to understand is just because a kid cries and screams doesn't necessarily mean that they're being abused. Sometimes they just don't like the arrangement. Now, another thing that I'm seeing from people is people saying that, oh, well, because he's crying, they're either going to be A, embarrassed and, leave the child with mom, or B, he should just stay where he's at because, you're messing with his emotional and mental stability. And it's like, y'all are so easily manipulated. Like a lot of mothers and some dads will do that. They will make it so that the child doesn't want to go with you because they're having such a great time by mom or dad's house. Maybe mom or dad buys them everything that they want. And then now when it's your turn to get the child, they're like, damn, I got to go back to your house. You don't have anything over at your house. And, dad or mom has everything. And so it's not going to be fun for a young child. You guys need to stop being manipulated. Now, I get it. You want to have some concern if you feel like there's reason to have concern outside of a kid crying and screaming, because kids will cry and scream. My daughter cries and screams sometimes when she can't get her way. And it's not, she's 7 now, but it was more so when she was younger. And it would literally just be because you're punishing her in terms of, okay, you did something bad. You can't sit down and play on a tablet all night. They will cry and scream like this little boy. And y'all will sit here and be manipulated and say that people are abusing their kids because they're disciplining their kids. And it's not even a physical discipline. I had a conversation with somebody and I said, if you were to go and say, let me give the child to the parent that they want to be with when they're that young, you might lose out on custody as mom or dad because you're a strict parent, and it has nothing to do with physically disciplining your child. It could literally just be the way you parent versus the way they see other parents parent. maybe their friend's parent is more lenient and then you're not as lenient, but then they find out that their mom or dad is more lenient and they want to go live with that other parent. And so if you're at the point where you're just letting kids choose where they want to live, some of y'all are going to lose out on that. And it's going to be a big deal when it's mom's losing out on custody because dad has more stuff. That's what it's really going to come down to. If you are paired with a man who has more money than you and can get the child whatever they want, and he's actually using that money to manipulate the child, then you're going to see this whole scenario of, oh, let the child pick where they want to go, backfire on a lot of moms. And it's going to be a big backlash because, when things happen to women, people care. When things happen to fathers, people don't care. People do not care when things happen to fathers. People don't care when fathers are being alienated. They don't care when the child's being manipulated against dad. They only care when it happens to mothers. So, so this whole idea that you should just let your child pick where they want to stay when they're that young, it's not going to be a good idea. But that's what some of the people are saying. But I'm still kind of annoyed at the fact that somebody said that I saw the video and jumped to conclusions when people were already jumping to conclusions. I included the example of people jumping to conclusions and having a bunch of likes about dad being an abuser because the kid was crying. But they want to single me out and say I can't have my opinion on it when other people are having such a negative opinion on dad. It really just goes to show that when it comes to like fathers, because fathers are men, mostly men. I don't know what's going on in 2024. There's a bunch of different arrangements, but dads are usually men, and I see dads as only men, but no disrespect to whatever arrangement somebody else might have. People don't care when they're being wrong, and people are okay with drawing conclusions about dads. But when it's the other way around and you got to draw conclusions about mom, people will come in there and fight for moms. Like there's another video that I recently posted with the mom leaving the kids and not making sure that dad comes out to get the kids, and people were defending the mom, and it was a bad thing. There were a lot of women that were saying it was bad. You can't do that. You can't just drive off and leave your kids. Somebody said, oh, well, maybe mom didn't drive off. Maybe she's right around the corner. And I'm like, the kids are crying. And you see her driving off in the video. But they'll defend mom tooth and nail. But when it comes to like giving a dad who hasn't shown any negative thing in a short video some leeway and saying, okay, maybe it's not that, it's not okay. We're just going to call men abusers because, statistically, women are the bigger abusers of kids. And people will say, well, kids are more with moms. And it really doesn't matter because at the end of the day, that's just what it is. More kids are abused by their moms. Are there situations where dads get custody and they do something bad to the kids? Yes, but it's not as often as people would like to think. So a lot of people are actually upset with Stepdad because most people are just like, why is he even there? First of all, they're doing an exchange. There's a bunch of police officers there. Maybe that's the police station. Stepdad doesn't need to be in there. He needs to stay in the car. He needs to tell the child like, hey, I understand that we're having a lot of fun. We're playing Nintendo Wii or whatever they're doing. They're bonding. They're having a great time. I don't need people getting sensitive and upset because I'm saying that, okay, they're playing video games and that's why. I'm not saying that's the real reason. I'm saying they're bonding. They're having a good time. He needs to let that child know that it's okay to go with his dad. And, a part of the reason why a dad might be in this situation could be if mom alienated that child from dad. So if mom had custody of the son and didn't want to give the son over to dad because she felt like she's more of a parent, you can be in this situation easily as a man. And then you have to go to court and the court gives you temporary custody and she has to turn the kid over or else she could be held in contempt. Like a lot of y'all will say, well, my kid was crying like that. I would not send my kid. Well, you might go to jail. You might go to jail for not sending your kid, or you're going to lose out on your parental time because they got to make up dad's parental time when you do stuff like that. But yeah, Stepdad did not help that situation. Me personally, I feel like he shouldn't be there. I've never met my daughter's stepdad. I don't know what her mom's doing. She's doing all kinds of weird shit. Never met dude. Don't care to see him. If he's there, I would, I'm not a mean person. I'm very nice. Wouldn't be no problems. But in a situation where mom and dad are very toxic and, always arguing, him being there just escalates the situation. And if he's going to be there, putting your hands up and doing nothing is not helping the situation at all. You should be encouraging that little boy to go with his biological father. You should not be sitting there putting your hands up talking about, oh, here we go again. No, leave the situation. If you're not going to help out, don't be in that situation. You as stepdad need to get that kid ready. I used to have to do that with my daughter when the custody exchanges just started. Her mom had more custody than me prior because she just felt like she was the better parent. And technically by law, she had more parental rights than me until I got them established. So my daughter, once I started doing the 50-50, or even before that, because she had such limited time with me, she would cry all the time. She would literally cry in front of her mom. Her mom felt bad because she was crying in front of her. There were exchanges that were done between my daughter's mom, and my mom was telling me straight up that she cried the whole way to the meetup. She cried in front of her mom. She hid from her mom. There was a lot of things that my daughter did that was similar to this, except for cry and scream out loud. And, if we're going to be fair, it's not because my daughter's mom's a bad parent per se. She definitely handled her a little bit. It's not that she's even more strict. It's just her form of like dealing with her misbehavior is a little bit different than mine, because she's a mom and she's a little girl. There are things that her mom can do that I can't do. If I were to do some of the stuff that her mom does, I would be in trouble because she's a woman. Like, first of all, I don't beat my daughter. There's no reason for me as a man to beat my daughter. But those are examples of like things that, kids will see and they'll just be like, I don't know. I just prefer to be with the other parent because maybe they don't discipline me. Discipline doesn't always have to be physical. But back to stepdad. If you're a stepdad and you're in this situation, do your part by encouraging the kid to go to their biological father. You are not the father. We don't care if the kid loves you. You are not the dad. Stay out the way, or if you're going to be in the way, make sure you're facilitating that child to his biological father. Same with stepmom. Make sure you're not in the way. If you're in the way, get out of the way. Make sure you're encouraging that kid, letting that kid know that, hey, you're going to see us soon. We're looking forward to seeing you. And a lot of times when they leave with the other parent, all that kicking and crying you see in this kid doing in the video, they're fine. They get in the car, they're fine. A lot of y'all are just weak, and tears basically make you not think logically. You're afraid of tears. That's what it is. But yeah, stepdad is definitely not helping in this situation. I want to touch more on parental alienation too. For me, while it was happening to me, I had no idea it existed. It wasn't until I started, going on TikTok and Instagram and meeting other fathers' right advocates and men's right advocates that I start like really knowing what parental alienation is. I've heard it from the kids that have been alienated from their dad or mom, but mainly dads. I've heard the stories about what it's done to them and how it affected them as an adult as they grew up. If this is a situation where mom felt like she had more parental rights than dad, and dad was never able to get time with the kid, he will react that way. He will want to stay with his stepdad, who mom ran to probably right after she broke up with dad. A lot of people have this thing where they break up with you and kids are involved, but they're so quick to jump into another relationship. So she probably jumped right into that relationship. Now she has the kid most of the time. So he goes to court, finally gets temporary custody. But during that time of having to wait for you to get temporary custody, for me, it was like a year or almost a year. The kid bonds with mom and stepdad more. And so now you have the situation of the kid feeling like, okay, that's my home. And then now I got to go to dad's house, which really isn't my home because I haven't been spending time with dad because I've been alienated. Like a lot of people don't want to acknowledge alienation, and they feel like it's such a bad word because there are people who will take advantage of the alienation situation and they're really not doing the work. They're really not trying to be proper parents, but it's far and few. A lot of men are alienated and people don't want to acknowledge it, because if you start to acknowledge parental alienation where moms feel like they're the better parent and so they won't allow you to see your child, or they're doing things like telling your child that you don't care about them and all kinds of negative things, if we start to acknowledge it more, then a lot of moms are going to lose time. And so they feel like it's a threat. They'll say, oh, parental alienation is such a bad word, but it's happening. A lot of moms, as much as we see dads walking away, and some dads do walk away due to parental alienation, but there are some dads that just should have never been dads in the first place. And that's really between you and dad. It's not just strictly on moms, although you guys control birth. It's also on men who really just should not be having sex unprotected. Like, let's just call it what it is. There are men out there that should not be having sex unprotected. But at the end of the day, as mom, you always get stuck with the kids. So you have the bigger situation to deal with. If you get locked in with someone who doesn't want to be a dad, that's it, the situation is going to be worse for you. You're going to be doing all the parenting. So y'all have a lot more to lose as women. But parental alienation, man, is not a good thing. And, this could be an example. Someone has mentioned that they know of the situation and that the dad has took the kid out of the country. No one has provided me any details on that yet. If you do know of the situation, please let me know down low. You know, send me the article, send me the child's name or the father's name, and let me look into it. But it's still a teaching moment though, where, you know, a lot of people don't know how to handle this situation. They, you know, they come online, they post on social media to make the bio parent look bad because the kid doesn't want to go with the bio parent and they want to go with the step parent, and you're handling that situation wrong. You're not encouraging that kid to go with their bio parent because you probably don't like the bio parent. It has nothing to do with the bio parent being a bad parent. You just don't like him or her. Do better. Do better. Like, I really hope that's not that situation, but I know somewhere, even if it's not that situation, it's 100% going on, and we need to do better as parents in making sure that every parent gets their equal time that wants to parent. I'm not worried about people who are deadbeat moms and dads who don't want to actually parent. I'm talking about parents who actually want to be parents that are being alienated. That's what I fight for. That's what I try to spread awareness for. And we need to do a better job of trying to make sure that when people want to be dads, they're able to be dads. And that's how I feel about this whole situation. All right, guys, so if you made it to the end of the video, please like the video, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. I will try to post as much videos as I can. I mainly post a lot of short videos, but I will be posting a lot more long form content. A lot of that content will be either me reacting to a video or various compilations of viral shorts from social media. Please make sure you click any of the videos that you're currently seeing on this end screen, and make sure you subscribe and share the channel.